How's it going, folks? Mark from Like Minded Lunatics, and I'm here with Ricky. Ricky, how are you?
Groovy, man. Groovy.
Awesome. So, folks, we're going to do a Friday night reaction video, and this is a band that Ricky and I are intimately familiar with. You saw Haxans how long ago?
Like a week ago. I went to the Frightmare horror convention in Dallas. It was a blast. And there were these people walking around handing out flyers. I've got a flyer here. And they weren't just handing them out, they were talking to people. I started talking to these people, and after 20 minutes, I realized I was talking to the guitarist of Haxan, who is the bass player for Rob Zombie, and he was extremely intelligent and articulate and nice, and was all like, man, you're awesome, and it was amazing.
That's great. And so last week, my wife and I saw John 5 at Come and Take It Live here in Austin, and Haxans opened for John. And so Ricky and I thought, why don't we do a Haxans song? So we're going to take a look at All the Roses. And if you're not familiar with Haxans, like Ricky said, their lead guitar player played bass for Rob Zombie, and their lead singer is Ash, and she's also the lead singer from New Year's Day.
Great band.
Great band. My wife and I saw them like 3 or 4 years ago in San Antonio. So this is The Roses, and it came out, let's see, do I have a date? I don't have a date on this. I think it's a pretty recent one,
I think it's pretty recent.
And so, folks, it's a tradition to have a beer with our Friday night reaction video. Ricky brought beers. This is from Aqua Brew Craft Beer, Swine Dive.
Swine Dive. This is a great brewery right in the middle of San Marcos. It's beautiful, and their beer is good.
Awesome. Well, folks, you don't have to have an alcoholic beverage, but let's get something in our system so we can cheers at the end of the week.
Salud.
And the beginning of a weekend. Cheers, folks.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's a good beer. All right, here we go. Haxans, All the Roses.
Hold on to your butts.
I wrote a letter to your father, said he ain't no son of mine. Says you're born a bad seed, that's why all his roses died. But your blood never dries. So you stole me some roses, but those roses fucking died. I'll save them all, I'll save them all for you. Just like you trip me when I'm walking, I'll drop them on your coffin.
I gotta say, I'm loving the narrative of this. So I know the song because I heard him play it last week. I've not seen this video, and it's I love it.
It's very cinematic. It's really cool.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of Todd Roth and I did Clutch's Quick Death in Texas. You can watch it over here. Same type of thing. We're in an old west town and stuff. I like it.
Kind of creeped out.
Yeah. So I'm confused about the narrative now. So we have them in a saloon, but I get the feeling that the people in the saloon are not the same people as this. Like, this is not in the same timeline, or they're doing something different.
Something's going on. Well, we will see.
Have you seen this one?
I have.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm in suspense now because I'm wondering what's going to happen.
Cause you made Jesus cry. Give him a crown of roses, but all those roses died. So I wrote a letter to the devil, cause he's a good friend of mine. He tattooed me some roses, and those held up just fine.
Whoa! What is that?
Creepy.
Oh, is that like Baphomet? Is that what we have going on? I'm not sure what's happening. Oh!
Something about the roses died, except the devil gave them roses, and those roses are just fine.
Yeah, and then we've got what looks like Baphomet with a scythe. That's awesome. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Oh my goodness, I'm loving this, Ricky. This is already awesome. Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh, this is awesome. It reminds me of Prophecy. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, yes.
Viggo Mortensen was the devil in that, and Viggo, it reminds me of that.
Yes.
So are they the roses, do you think?
Something's going on there.
Because they're in red too, but they toss in the lyrics, toss the roses on your grave. They're in a grave and they're dressed in red. I know. I mean, and that movement there, I mean, that's quintessential vampire movement. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of John Carpenter's Vampires. You remember that movie?
John Carpenter's Vampires, of course.
So that book was written by a guy named John Stakely.
Yeah.
And Stakely wrote 2 books. First one was Armor, and then it was Vampires. And his Vampires Inc. book took place in Cleburne.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And it reminds me of this. Like, the John Carpenter film is not great, but the book reminds me of this. I don't know what happened. I feel like I'm going to have to watch this like 9 or 10 more times, Ricky.
All the layers.
Yeah, to figure out what happened in the narrative. My goodness, what is your take on this?
I love all the visual, and it's nice and cool, and it's a Western, and it's like, everyone's dying, everyone's bloody, and this probably kind of ruins it a little bit. Sorry to spoil a little bit for you, but it's interesting to see how dark, and it's a dark song, and and these people weren't going around handing out flyers. They talked to me.
Oh.
I talked to this, and they're very nice and very articulate, really cool people, and these would be people that you'd hang out with, and it's like, let me get the door for you and all that. And then you watch this video, and it's like, creeps you out. So it's great.
I can tell you the first thing so they came out when they played it at Come and Take It Live, when they opened for John 5. They came out and they played like 2 songs first before they talked. You know, a lot of bands will do that. You play your song, and then they start talking. And Piggy D, I can't remember his real name. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to him. But anyway, Piggy, he started off by talking about how lovely he thought Texas was. He's like, man, and all y'all's wildflowers are blooming. It's beautiful here. And Ash goes, that is like the least metal way to open a show, is to talk about wildflowers. And he was wearing some pants. They were rainbow striped, almost like pride pants. He's like, well, I mean, that goes with my pants. Kind of matches my pants. And so while we didn't get to talk to him like you did, I kind of had the same experience where it was like, they're playing some really dark music. What about them wildflowers?
I know, that's awesome.
Wildflowers are in bloom, and it is gorgeous here, folks. I loved the flowers. So I kind of had the same experience.
That's great.
But I do love me a high concept video like this.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't get enough of those anymore.
No. And actually, I looked. This is from February 2022, so it's pretty recent. Love it.
It reminds me of Lottie and I reacted to Dorothy's Down to the Bottom. I don't know if you saw
yes,
that.
yes.
It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah,
where
I can
it's got
see that.
Like a Southern Gothic type thing.
Southern Gothic. There you go.
I really like that. You know what that reminds me of, Ricky? Now we're just rambling, but you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Bobby's Last Beer.
Oh, Lord.
That reminds me of Bobby's Last Beer. That was a story that I wrote that Ricky composed, and it's kind of Southern Gothic-y
That
too.
is very Southern Gothic-y. Yes. Put a link somewhere.
We'll put that
there.
there.
Do the link.
We'll do the link because, folks,
That was a lot of fun.
the story's kind of ass, but Ricky's music is fantastic.
It's fun.
It's a fun story, but Ricky's music is great. So, well, I'm glad that you recommended this one. I'm glad that we did this one.
Thanks. Me too.
Yeah.
It's great. I love the band.
Yep.
Check them out.
Check them out. And if you see them on tour with John 5, can't recommend that show enough. First off, they open lots of fun, and then John comes out, and it's just a hangout with John as he picks some of the best guitar I think I've ever heard. All the way from Eddie Van Halen to Jerry Reed.
Yeah.
And you say that in a sentence, you're like, there's no way that works.
But it does.
It works. It works. Well, Ricky, thanks for doing this one with me.
Oh, absolutely, man.
And
Thanks
folks, give us a comment. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff. And take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. What about them wildflowers?